Morning, guys. Or whatever time it is, really early. Here is Wonder. I'm looking really spotty again today. Great. Right, we're up to chapter, it's called Hearing Brightly. It's 214. And Augie has just had his hearing aids turned on for the first time. How can I describe what I heard when the doctor turned on my hearing aids, or what I didn't hear? It's too hard to think of any words. The ocean just wasn't living inside my head anymore. It was gone. I could hear sounds like shiny lights in my brain. It was like when you're in a room where one of the light bulbs on the ceiling isn't working, but you don't realise how dark it is until someone changes the light bulb. And then you're like, whoa, it's so bright in here. I don't know if there's a word that means the same as bright in terms of hearing, but I wish I knew one, because my ears were hearing brightly now. How does it sound, Augie? The ear doctor said. Can you hear me okay, buddy? I looked at him and smiled, but I didn't answer. Sweetie, do you hear anything different? Said Mum. You don't have to shout, Mum. I nodded happily. Are you hearing better? Asked the ear doctor. I don't hear that noise anymore, I answered. It's so quiet in my ears. The white noise is gone, he said, nodding. He looked at me and winked. I told you you'd like what you heard, August. He made some more adjustments on the left hearing aid. Does it sound very different, love? Mum asked. Yeah, I nodded. It sounds lighter. That's because you have bionic hearing now, buddy, said the ear doctor, adjusting the right side. Now touch here. He put my hand behind the hearing aid. Do you feel that? That's the volume. You have to find the volume that works well for you. We're going to do that next. Well, what do you think? He picked up a small mirror and had me look in the big mirror at how the hearing aids looked in the back. My hair covered most of the headband. The only part that peeked out was the tubing. Are you okay with your new bionic Lobot hearing aids? The ear doctor asked, looking in the mirror at me. Yeah, I said, thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. James, said Mum. The first day I showed up at school with the hearing aids, I thought kids would make a big deal about it, but no one did. Summer was glad I could hear better, and Jack said it made me look like an FBI agent or something, but that was it. Mr. Brown asked me about it in English class, but it wasn't like, what the heck is that thing on your head? It was more like, if you ever need me to repeat something, Augie, please tell me, okay? Now that I look back, I don't know why I was so stressed out about this the whole time. Funny how sometimes you worry a lot about something and it turns out to be nothing. I think some of us can relate to that. Next chapter, Via's secret. A couple of days after spring break ended, Mum found out that Via hadn't told her about a school play that was happening at her high school next week. And Mum was mad. Mum doesn't really get that mad that much, though Dad would disagree with that. But she was really mad at Via for that. She and Via got into a huge fight. I could hear them yelling at each other in Via's room. My bionic Lobot ears could hear everything Mum was saying. But what is it with you lately, Via? You're moody and taciturn and secretive. What's so wrong with not telling you about my stupid play? Via practically screamed. I don't even have a speaking part in it. Your boyfriend does. Don't you want us to see him in it? No, actually, I don't. Stop screaming. You scream first. Just leave me alone, okay? You've been really good about leaving me alone my whole life, so why you've chosen high school to suddenly be interested, I have no idea. And then I don't know what Mum answered, because it all got very quiet. And even my bionic Lobot ears couldn't pick up the signal. Next chapter, my cave. By dinner, they seemed to have made up. Dad was working late, Daisy was sleeping. She'd thrown up a lot earlier in the day, and Mum made an appointment to take her to the vet the next morning. The three of us were sitting down and no one was talking. Finally, I said, so we're going to see Justin in a play? Via didn't answer but looked down at her plate. You know, Augie, said Mum quietly, I hadn't realised what play it was, and it really isn't something that would be interesting to kids your age. So I'm not invited, I said, looking at Via. I didn't say that, said Mum. It's just, I don't think it's something you'd enjoy. You totally get bored, said Via, like she was accusing me of something. Are you and Dad going? I asked. Dad'll go, said Mum. I'll stay home with you. What? Via yelled at Mum. Oh, great. So you're going to punish me for being honest by not going. You didn't want us to go in the first place, remember, answered Mum. But now that you know about it, of course, I want you to go, said Via. Well, I've got to weigh everyone's feelings here, Via, said Mum. What are you two talking about? I shouted. Nothing, they both snapped at the same time. Just something about Via's score that has nothing to do with you, said Mum. You're lying, I said. Excuse me, said Mum. Kind of shocked. Even Via looked surprised. I said, you're lying, I shouted. You're lying, I screamed at Via, getting up. You're both liars. You're both lying to my face like I'm an idiot. Sit down, Augie, said Mum, grabbing my arm. I pulled my arm away and pointed at Via. You think I don't know what's going on? I yelled. You just don't want your brand new fancy high school friends to know that your brother's a freak. Augie, Mum yelled. That's not true. Stop lying to me, Mum, I shrieked. Stop treating me like I'm a baby. I'm not an idiot. I know what's going on. I ran down the hallway to my room and slammed the door behind me so hard that I actually heard little pieces of the wall crumble inside the door frame. Then I plopped onto my bed and pulled the covers up on top of me. I threw my pillows over my disgusting face and then piled all my stuffed animals on top of the pillows like I was inside a little cave. If I could walk around with a pillow over my face all the time, I would. I don't even know how I got so mad. I wasn't really mad at the beginning of dinner. I wasn't even sad. But then all of a sudden it just kind of exploded out of me. I knew Via didn't want me to go to her stupid play, and I knew why. I figured Mum would follow me into my room right away, but she didn't. I wanted her to find me inside my cave of stuffed animals, so I waited a little more. But even after 10 minutes, she still didn't come in after me. I was pretty surprised. She always checks in on me when I'm in my room, upset about stuff. I pictured Mum and Via talking about me in the kitchen. I figured Via was feeling really, really, really bad. I pictured Mum totally laying on the guilt, and Dad would be mad at her when he came home too. I made a little hole through the pile of pillows and stuffed animals and peeked at the clock on my wall. Half an hour had passed, and Mum still hadn't come into my room. I tried to listen for the sounds in the other rooms. Were they still having dinner? What was going on? Finally, the door opened. It was Via. She didn't even bother coming over to my bed. She didn't even come in softly like I thought she would. She came in quickly. Next chapter. Goodbye. Augie, said Via, come quick. Mum needs to talk to you. I'm not apologising. This isn't about you, she yelled. Not everything in the world is about you, Augie. Now hurry up. Daisy's sick. Mum's taking her to the emergency vet. Come and say goodbye. I pushed the pillows off my face and looked up at her. That's when I saw she was crying. What do you mean goodbye? Come on, she said, holding out her hand. I took her hand and followed her down the hall to the kitchen. Daisy was lying down sideways on the floor with her legs straight out in front of her. She was panting a lot like she'd been running in the park. Mum was kneeling beside her, stroking the top of her head. What happened? Said Mum. What happened? I asked. She just started whimpering all of a sudden, said Via, kneeling down next to Mum. I looked down at Mum, who was crying too. I'm taking her to the animal hospital downtown, she said. The taxi's coming to pick me up. The vet will make her better, right? I said. Mum looked at me. I hope so, honey, she said quietly, but I honestly don't know. Of course he will, I said. Daisy's been sick a lot lately, Augie. She's old. But they can fix her, I said, looking at Via to agree with me, but Via wouldn't look up at me. Mum's lips were trembling. I think it might be time we say goodbye to Daisy, Augie. I'm sorry. No, I said. We don't want her to suffer, Augie, she said. The phone rang. Via picked it up and said, okay, thanks, and then hung up. The taxi's outside, she said, wiping her tears with the backs of her hands. Okay, Augie, open the front door for me, sweetie, said Mum, picking Daisy up very gently like she was a huge droopy baby. Please, no, Mummy, I cried, putting myself in front of the door. Honey, please, said Mum, she's very heavy. What about Daddy? I cried. He's meeting me at the hospital, Mum said. He doesn't want Daisy to suffer, Augie. Via moved me away from the door and held it open for Mum. My cell phone's on if you need anything, Mum said to Via. Can you cover her with a blanket? Via nodded. She was crying hysterically now. Say goodbye to Daisy, kids, Mum said, tears streaming down her face. I love you, Daisy, Via said, kissing Daisy on the nose. I love you so much. Bye, little girlie, I whispered into Daisy's ear. I love you. Mum carried Daisy down the stoop. The taxi driver had opened the back door and we watched her get in. Just before she closed the door, Mum looked up at us standing at the entrance to the building. and she gave us a little wave. I don't think I've ever seen her look sadder. I love you, Mummy, said Via. I love you, Mummy, I said. I'm sorry, Mummy. Mum blew a kiss to us from the closed door. We watched the car leave, and then Via closed the door. She looked at me for a second, and then she hugged me very, very tightly while we both cried a million tears. Oh no, poor Daisy. I hope she gets medicine at the vets. I don't know. Because today is the last day of term, I will keep reading Wonder over the holidays, so I'll post a video every day. We've not got long to go, so maybe we'll finish it next week. I hope you have a lovely day.